We're trying to go live.
All right. All right. We are live, and
Are we?
I do believe so. Our faces are frozen on OBS because OBS loves me. Why do you stop acknowledging Discord?
It hates Discord. It's a competitor now.
What is going on? Stop. Man. OBS.
Frodo, what the hell is wrong with you?
I cannot get Discord to pull up my. Hold on. All right, I fixed you.
I'm good and fixed.
All right, I am now fixed. All right. I think we are live. I think. Maybe.
We're live. I'm watching.
Okay.
You don't look too bad yourself.
Well, thank you. This is the ray tracing through my Razer camera, apparently.
Ray tracing with your Razer camera?
Yeah, I don't know. There's some like.
Why would you have that? That just sounds.
Because I take every opportunity I can to look even more white than I already am.
See, if I didn't know you were Canadian, I would have had you pegged for like some redneck dude who does videos in their truck.
Fair. you know, it's completely fair.
Yeah. All right. By the way, Forza Horizon 5 is now preloading
Ooh.
for 103 gigs.
I ain't preloading that. Hell no. What? I ain't got the space for that.
Speaking of Twitter Spaces, I went in a Twitter Space today.
But it's a Thursday.
Yeah, I know. They had a good conversation. I'll be honest. It's a gamer MD. He's a good guy. He was with somebody else, and they were talking about is it easier for indie games to win Game of the Year?
An indie game hasn't even won Game of the Year, though.
Yeah. Well, it's not true. A game did win, but like, let me post this link real quick. I'll pull up the list here. The Game Awards. There we go. Where is it? Come on. Sorry. I'm scrolling through. I'm trying to find where I was at. Oh, that's not it. Not either Japan Game Awards. I want the Game Awards. Really? You're not going to have it on this one? There it is. Okay. All right. So the Game Awards officially started in 2014. So the overall discussion was you either have a game that's like a big AAA game with RPG elements, and that will win Game of the Year, or an indie game. So if you look at the actual winners, you got Dragon Age Inquisition, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Overwatch, Breath of the Wild, God of War, Sekiro, Last of Us Part 2, and then whatever it's going to be this year. So it's I don't I, so my argument in the discussion was actually it's not about indie games per se as much as it is niche titles. Because niche titles will get the attention if they do something really, really well. Because by all means, if it was left up to a popular vote, Sekiro wouldn't have won Game of the Year.
No.
It just would not have won. Because that is a niche title for a very specific base, and they loved it. I think that's the whole point, is that it gets that attention of that particular base, and of the people who actually get to pick Game of the Year, that's all that really matters. So, and it was a good discussion though. I think we talked about a couple things, but I only had like 15 minutes, so yeah, it was interesting.
Oh yeah, the Game Awards is just around the corner, isn't it? It's like 2 weeks.
Yep, December 9th.
Oh boy.
And it's at the Microsoft Theater.
Like it always is.
Well, Microsoft Money had it this year.
Oh my god, here we go. I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, what if Xbox wins Game of the Year with something? I'm like, then it's going to be a paid off show and Jeff Keighley took the bag and everything else. It's
well, because this year, like, I don't know. This year, like, there hasn't been that game that's like the no shit Game of the Year. There hasn't been something like that to me. At least not in terms of like my personal Game of the Year, but I mean like in terms of like you look at it, you're like, yep, this has got Game of the Year written all over it, kind of thing. Like I didn't really see anything like that yet.
I think in terms of Game of the Year discussions so far, like I've had games that have kind of stuck out to me. I'm like, yeah, that's my Game of the Year kind of deal. But I think there hasn't been a game that's done a general consensus across the space yet. Like you know how like with like Sekiro, even though like some people didn't, obviously a lot of people didn't play it or like it, a lot of people are like, yeah, totally, that makes sense, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like there's a leading game where everyone's like, yeah, this is the best it's been.
Yeah.
Like I feel
the
like,
only one. Well, go ahead.
I feel like a couple of like shoe-in ones are going to be like, if we're talking like Game Awards, Game of the Year, you sure as hell know Metroid Dread's going to be up there.
They'll probably do that. They'll probably do Resident Evil Village.
I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't think they've ever put a horror game front and center.
Yeah, but this would be the kind of the year to do that, right?
I agree to a certain extent.
Remember, it sparked a lot of memes. People got attention.
Yeah, but
there hasn't been like other game necessarily that like pulls that out necessarily.
Yeah, but I find the Game Awards suffers from recency bias a bit. If your game releases in the first half of the year, you're probably forgotten by the time the Game Awards come around.
Oh yeah, like no, Cyberpunk isn't going to be on anybody's list.
And it should
for many reasons. But like it just Game of the Year is just so. Yeah, it is definitely a recency bias thing. You are right about that. Here we go. There we go. But now, like every time we have this discussion, it's always so stupid because we always just end up right back here anyway.
Isn't that what all arguments kind of?
Yeah, I mean, all right. So I mean, if I had to pick like the one game I want to definitely at least get nominated is Psychonauts 2. And I think that would be the biggest statement game to win. I think I think it'll definitely get nominated. I think it'll get nominated, but I don't like it's one of those things where it's like it'll get nominated, but it probably won't win.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is probably a year or two for unconventional Game of the Year contenders.
No, I still think it's going to be pretty run-of-the-mill. There's been enough AAA games that they'll be able to flog it out.
Yeah, well, I mean, Metroid Dread will probably. Yeah, I think you're right about that. Metroid Dread, because Nintendo's got to get some sort of representation in there. They may even give the win to Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread. Now I think about it, but
yeah, Metroid Dread, I feel like will be the one that wins. It's at least at the bare minimum, it's nominated.
Yeah. Oh shit. 1 minute.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think we'll do that. But like I said, has Tim Schafer gotten the the acknowledgement award from the Game Awards yet?
I don't know, honestly.
Let me see. Because if there was a year to do it, it's probably this year. See about anything winning, but I know he won the BAFTAs a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. But yeah, I think it'll probably be time for Tim Schafer to get that acknowledgement. I think that would be, in terms of like awards, that would mean the most, because it would be, okay, look, crowdsourced games can succeed. It's a cult classic, finally getting a sequel, pretty much better in every single way, universal acclaim. Like, it's all everything positive you could possibly want. It's a multi-plat game. It launched on Game Pass. And then it would also mean something, because it'd be like, all right, Microsoft, like, people would also say Microsoft bought their game of the year. They didn't develop it themselves. That kind of thing. It would create that narrative, but it'd be interesting at least.
I think the most boring part of like tribalism in the gaming space is that it's so repetitive to the point now where it's so predictable to the fact that if you know this certain thing is going to happen, you know exactly the reaction and how people are going to respond. There's no like wildness to it anymore. Like, there's no one out there like saying something completely different than everyone else. Everyone just kind of echoes the same point now. There's no like diversity in thought in it anymore.
Yeah. But hey, it be how it be.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Anyway, Halloween's coming up. What are you doing for Halloween this year?
Oh, we're taking the kids out this year.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Sweet.
First time in like since pre-pandemic, basically. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny because like normally what I normally do is I normally host a movie party, but I try to keep it towards the weekend. So like if Halloween falls on a really weird day, it just doesn't work out. Yeah. But yeah, I normally stay home and I do help the trick or treaters and do that kind of thing. But trick or treating in an apartment complex is so weird. Like it's entirely dependent on things outside of your control.
Right.
So like last year, yeah, no one came by for obvious reasons. But like years prior, like I had 3 trick-or-treaters, I've had 10 trick-or-treaters. It just ranges all the time. And it's like, but I try to be the apartment complex that gives up the full-size candy bars, because they only have a couple people that come by. So it's like, hey, you came by. Good job. Like, you know those, so, well, what I like to do, I don't like giving out the regular size ones. I like, you ever heard of like a Hershey's Symphony bar?
Yeah.
You know, like that big, it's like almost like a pound of chocolate.
Yeah.
That's what I give out.
All right.
It's a
I'm
child who comes by.
I'm coming down for Halloween.
Bring the kids. You get 2 pounds of chocolate, guaranteed.
Lord, they don't need that. They do not need that.
Yeah. So, it's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah. I also like doing movies. I like doing like a movie showing. Like last year we got a projector and I cleared off like a whole wall and set up like I have multiple couches in my apartment. And so I set up all the couches so you could watch the movie on the wall. And we watched like Bye Bye Man, which was just dumb. and like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Classic.
We watched something else. I forgot what it was. But, like we decorated the whole apartment and everything, and like it looked nice. We had like tombstones, like giant inflatables, Jack Skellington, and all the stuff. And it was fun. We enjoyed it. But we had to like delay it because that's when I got COVID. By the anniversary of me getting COVID. So I was like, oh yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's been like shit. I got mine in March of 2020. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I got COVID the day I was sick with COVID when Doom Eternal launched.
Damn, because that was my birthday. Yep.
Yeah, I got stuck at home playing Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal for my 14-day quarantine, which
Fun.
in hindsight wasn't actually terrible. Felt like garbage, but got to rip and tear. So, you win some,
Yeah.
you lose some.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah. But yeah, we had COVID, and that was not fun. But yeah. What else do we do? But yeah, I remember one year, like I did a showing for John Carpenter's The Thing, and what I did was just so despicable. Now, I started the movie, and I would get up like every 10 minutes or so and lower the temperature of the apartment. So like at the start of the movie, it was like 68 degrees. By the end of the movie, we dropped it down to 45. And so people were like getting cold, and they were like, wow, I'm getting really sucked into this movie. I was like,
The Anchorman immersion effect.
yeah. So that was fun. But yeah, I like doing this sort of thing. So, scary movies. All right, you want to get the show started?
Yeah,
Or,
we should get this show on the road. For those listening, this will be our first episode with timestamps. I'm going to be timestamping as we go. So try to keep up. So we will get right to the live introductions right now to kick it off for our MP3 audience. All right. Hello and welcome to Cheat Code Radio, episode number Unlucky 13. I'm your host, Nicholas Downey, editor for lordsofgaming.net. As always, I'm joined by the swanky man himself, Anchorman V2.
The Swanky Man?
Yeah,
Okay.
Swankerman V2. Come on.
I
roll
like
with it.
Wanker Man. That sounded way better. But all right, hey, I'll take it. Hey, everybody, it's Anchorman V2 here, also known Ivan Seiler from Multiverse Show and Cheat Code Radio. Here to have a good time and talk a little bit. Let's talk about some fun stuff. We got cool gaming topics on the horizon, so let's get on into it. But first, as we do every single week, we got to go over our poll results because we have some a doozy for you. So let me put that pulled up here. All right, let's see with my old man vision. All right, it says, in the answer to the question, does Back 4 Blood live up to the hype for you? Actually, we have a tie for our bottom two. I'm gonna say tied for last. No, it's trash, and give me Slime Rancher 2. And with 50% of the vote, yes, give me more Ridden. So yeah, it's been fun. All right, Nick, how far have you gotten Back 4 Blood before I forget?
I am second last mission of Act 3.
Oh man, you're farther than I am. I've been doing. I'm like the last little mission section of Act 2.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's normally how I play this, though. I play a little different.
It's weird, dude, though, because like Act 1 felt like a cakewalk. Like I was walking in, like I was like Conor McGregoring these zombies. I was just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm awesome. And then like Act 2, I was like, whew, okay, we get a little tougher right here. And Act 3 is just like, oh my god, send help. I need help. Like the difficulty spikes in some of the areas is really interesting. And teamwork really, like, later on is like essential. Like, it's not like Left 4 Dead where one person can kind of carry a garbage team to the finish line. You kind of all have to cohesively be working together, which is fine when you're playing with friends, but my god, if you're playing with randoms, this game is not fun.
It is a difficult game to play alone.
Oof.
So yeah, I normally consume my Left 4 Dead type games a little differently. I normally replay, like, once I finish a section, I normally replay that section a couple of times before I start moving on to the new stuff. So like I finished Act 1, and then I went into like random lobbies and played Act 1 over and over and over again. So I was like, all right, now I know the mechanics and I can do this in my sleep. I know how to win. Let's dominate. And that's really what I did, and it works. For me, it's a process that allows me to get whatever I need to get done better, and where it becomes second nature on how to deal with something. So that's how I end up doing it. And then when we go to, like, because with this game, when you move on, the game moves on with you.
Right.
Like you know, one of the most sobering sections. You know how, like, in the first act when you go back into Finleyville, after a couple of times, but you go into there like several times, and each time you go in there, it gets worse and worse. When you go into Finleyville that time, and the first time in Act 2, and like the zombies are just steamrolling you, you feel like such a loser.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, okay. So, yeah, it definitely just beats the crap out of you. It makes you feel weak. But hey, I think it's worth it. It's a fun experience to not feel like you're always in control.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, like, there's some things Left 4 Dead did that were really good and intuitive to the player, and then there's things that Back 4 Blood doesn't do that don't feel like they're intuitive, but they don't have to be. Like, the one thing I hate is, like, for example, the different types of ridden. You can't really have, like, a characteristic, like, call for them or sound. They all kind of sound the same to me anyway. Like in Left 4 Dead, you hear the, like, boomer gargling, you know it's around the corner. You hear the hunter screaming as he's jumping around, you know, things like that. There's audio cues that you pick up in Left 4 Dead to kind of give you a tip of what's coming next, and you, unless you hear the AI callouts for it, you don't really have that with Back 4 Blood, or at least I don't find it as obvious.
Yeah, the audio is different.
Mm-hmm.
It just is, and it feels like it's intentional. Is probably the best I could put it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, you know what type it is roughly, but you can't narrow down like which one specifically. Like, we call them baiters and masters, but the choker, the ones that choke you and the ones that slam into you, they're the same type, but they're two different varieties in terms of where to shoot them. I think that's what makes it interesting.
I have a hard time telling them because almost every ridden has like a duplicate that does something different.
Yep.
And I
think that's interesting.
Yeah, it feels intentional. Like, people are like, oh, it's just lazy cut and paste. I'm like, no, it feels intentional because you think, oh, it's one of these, and then all of a sudden it's not, and you're unprepared, and it takes you by surprise. And I think that's what a lot of Back 4 Blood aims to do, is like take you out of that comfort zone and force you into, you know, dangerous situations to see how you adapt to it. Like, you look at some of the, like, the cards that you can get to pull, like, I'm not talking like your own deck, like the corruption cards. Those can really screw with your run, depending on what you draw. Like, we had one where there was crows everywhere. It was like more crow swarms. I was like, this won't be that bad. It was literally everywhere. Like, they were on the roof, they were on a tractor, they were inside a car. They were endless.
Oh, by the way, the gameplay hasn't started at all.
Oh, it hasn't? Oh.
Yeah, no. Just still title screen. Sorry, guys. We're still working out some kinks on this one. Just want to make sure it was known. But yeah, I like where Back for Blood is, and I was talking with Flack, and he's my roommate. I was talking to him about it because I was trying to explain to him because he's a younger gamer. I was trying to explain to him about Left 4 Dead and like what it was. I played a match like just so you kind of see what Left 4 Dead 2 looked like, and you can see like where the bones were in it. You can see where that started, but it was like, all right, well, what makes this PvP version better than Back 4 Bloods? And it was just I explained like the pacing of it was different. We were talking about like what do you do in this age for a PvP based around that? Because like it feels like every single encounter you have, like okay, Left 4 Dead, with the exception of the tank, one survivor could take out any one of the other infected or the special infected. But like this one, I feel like you need at least 2 people for almost every encounter with a special.
Yeah, no, the pacing's different because like something Back 4 Blood doesn't do very well is the lull. You know what I mean? Like the gaps in between zombies. Like sometimes that little bit of breathing room really helps. I feel with Back 4 Blood, they just endlessly pound you with just everything. Like it doesn't matter if it's just normal ridden or like there's one time where we were playing I think it was in like Act 2 and the game spawned like 4 of the tall boys. And I was like, my God, what are you doing to me right now? Like we had like 6 or 7 special ridden at play at one time. I'm like, there's only 4 of us with limited ammo. Like this is gonna be rough.
Man, yeah, it's difficult, but no, it's interesting. What I'm hoping to see from them is that they adapt the game based on how people play, and make sure it brings like new varieties and modes if possible. So I like to see that, but I don't know if they're going to end up doing something like that. But we'll see. Okay, yeah, the gameplay started. Okay, just making sure. I was watching about like 5 minutes behind. I was like, that's why it's not playing. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I guess we should probably start getting into our regular topics for the evening. All right. Go. I just pulled my little list here. All right. So, our first question for the evening comes from someone who didn't leave their name. All right. What the hell happened to the Fable remake the Xbox teased? Dufouk. Nick, you want to field this one for us? Let people know what happened here.
Yeah, so Xbox Publishing, which typically doesn't talk a whole lot, they handle a lot of third-party relationships with Xbox, I believe, posted a tweet that was kind of teasing an announcement for, I believe it was going to be Monday morning, because I think it was they were teasing it Sunday night. And they basically were like, we have something big. It's an announcement that people will be pretty excited about. And then in a follow-up tweet, they're like, we call it Fable Anniversary, but that name's already taken. So immediately, 50% of the internet thought that we were getting information on Playground's upcoming Fable game, which it's not because Xbox Publishing is for external, not internal. But then the other 50% thought, like myself, ooh, maybe we're going to see a Fable remaster. I've seen people say Fable 1, 2, and 3. I've seen people say just 1. I'm more inclined to say 1 because it's the most outdated. 2 still plays relatively well, but 1 is rough. But this did not come to fruition. They deleted the tweets and apologized, and we never heard about this announcement. This announcement simply just didn't happen. So all you can really do is speculate. I don't know why they would tease something like that and then pull it back like that. It feels like someone maybe in social PR got a little tweet happy. I don't know. What about you? Where do you feel on this? What do you think it is?
if my gut instinct tells me that it's not Playground who would have made this, I think it really does exist at this point. Like that's just, for Xbox's social media team, which has been on the ball consistently pretty much since Game Pass came out, like it's just like 2018. To see them fumble the ball like this is just wild to me. I can't imagine how they could have get this any worse. Like I think it's real, and they just like maybe messed it up somehow. I can't imagine what exactly happened, but I think it's real, and there's supposed to be like a Game Awards or some later kind of announcement, and they just didn't really handle it well. And I don't know how this even just like happened. So
yeah, that's
Billy the intern probably got fired.
Yeah, I'm just really confused on why they would tease this and specifically mention Fable and then go dark on it. Like, Fable fans are waiting long enough as it is, which is fine because, you know, I have faith in Playground Games to deliver a great Fable. But ultimately, I don't know, it's weird in their string of announcements for it to be done like this. It just kind of makes me cock my eyebrow and go, okay, well, why?
I really don't know. Like, and like for it to be so hyper specific and no vague aspect of it either. Like it wasn't like a tease. They basically said, yeah, we're working on Fable.
Yeah.
Like it's Fable something, and like they were very clear about it, which is just so weird. So anyway, all right. So I'll ask the only follow-up question I have to this, Nick, is do you think it's real, or do you think it was just something like, oh yeah, well it just happened and they're just throwing things out there?
I think it's real, and the only reason I do think it's real is I think because the Fable game itself is taking longer to make than they anticipated. Mm-hmm. I feel like they want to give the fans something. And I think a remaster of the first one would be a good step in that. Like, obviously, Playground Games isn't going to be the ones making it because they're making Forza Horizon and they're making, you know, the new Fable. But I want it to be real. Let me put it that way. I want this to be real. Because I want more people to be able to experience that game in a way that's more intuitive than it is in its current state.
Yeah, I mean, I never bothered playing Fable, really, because I played Fable 3 first, and I just hated that menu system so bad it turned me off the entire franchise.
Oh, you started with Fable 3? Oh,
yeah, you came to it late, remember?
Oh yeah.
I didn't get on Xbox till 2011.
Starting with the worst game of the franchise.
Yeah, I was like, I just can't stand this whole thing. I'm out. So, yeah, anyway. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually little known fact, I don't play the games live that you see, even though it looks like it. I'm starting doing the Halloween stuff for Fallout 76, and basically it just involves me trick-or-treating and not really paying attention and making sure people can trick-or-treat for my candy bowl too. So that's it. All right, next question on the list for this evening. Did you guys see the Uncharted movie trailer? Thoughts from Jesse Plinkett. I saw it. Yeah.
And?
Who cast Tom Holland in this? Like, I understand Sony's got to deal with him, but
look,
he's not a good casting.
Me and Tom Holland are 3 years apart.
Yeah, I know.
And he looks young enough to be my son.
Well, I'm not even like that, but like he doesn't have the presence or a cadence like that, and I'm just like,
he doesn't have the Nathan Drake swagger. Tom Holland isn't an action movie star. He doesn't.
Not even that. Like my issue is that like, 'cause they address that he is young, and so like, all right, for him to be working at a bar like they show in the trailer, he had to be at least 21. Like that had to be at least the case, and like you could be a young 21. I mean, look at Sam. Uh, um, but even then, he doesn't have the charisma. That's the thing. It's what makes Nathan Drake so appealing is the charisma. Like it's like, yeah, there's a swagger aspect to him, but this is what's missing from this one is not swagger, it's the charisma. Because Tom Holland, I just keep getting like hurt puppy dog vibes from him. Like when he's acting dramatic, I just imagine someone kicked his dog. And that's what always comes to mind every time. I can't get behind that.
Also, Mark Wahlberg is just such a horrible casting for this.
Actually, I think he looks great. Actually, I think he's pretty on point. I could see him as a young Sully, for whatever reason.
Yeah, but the thing is with how young they're making Sully look, Nathan would have to be like, what, 12? 11? Is that the vibe we're going for? Nathan Drake requiring his mom's signature to go on the trip.
Let's see. Let's say someone's actually calculated how old he was. Let me see. They did this 8 hours ago. Damn it. They're already on point. Hold up. If I'm going to look at this article, I'm going to say this comes from Feliz Mustafa from hitc.com, which I've never heard of before. Let's see. Oh, this is one of those articles. All right, so in the first Uncharted game, Nate is around 31 years old. Nate says to Sully in Uncharted 3 that he was 15 whenever they first met. Doesn't really answer the question. All right. So let's say, being fair, Nate was, let's see. If their first adventure took place whenever Nate was 31, and that would have been in 2011. No, sorry. No, he was 31. All right, I gotta think math. Go ahead and talk about something else. I'll do some math real quick. All right, let's see.
No, I think overall it's like the thing with Uncharted is it makes an incredible video game because we don't have a lot of adventure style, action movie style games. I think that's why Uncharted works so well. It's like we don't have an well, we're gonna have an Indiana Jones game, but we don't have like an Indiana Jones game anymore. Lara Croft is obviously around, but you know, Nathan Drake gives you that, you know, badass dude for the people that can't stand playing Lara Croft, I guess. I don't know. Like, it feels weird because Uncharted feels like an action movie turned into a game. Now it feels like they're turning an action movie that was turned into a game back into an action movie. And it feels weird. It feels weird. I don't know if I can get behind it. The casting feels weird. Nothing about it seems like natural. I'm not there for it. How goes the age calculator on Nathan Drake?
Found out how much he just. So in Uncharted 1, Nate was 31.
Okay.
And Sully was 56.
So he's 26 years older.
25.
25. So there's a 25-year difference.
So, yeah. But you know how old Mark Wahlberg is?
Is he in his 50s? At least.
He's 50.
Yeah, so that means Tom Holland would have to be 25. Oh my god.
It's almost like he's perfect.
Oh my god.
The age thing does make sense.
That mustache on Mark Wahlberg, though, is just...
I want to see it. I want to see it now.
No.
I'm fine with this mustache. See, now, keep in mind, Sully is one of my favorite characters. Oh, sorry, favorite video game characters of all time, like top 10. Like, and I want to see this, but I'll give Mark Wahlberg a try. I'll give him a shot. But
Who
yeah,
knows? It might end up being like Tom Hardy playing Venom, right? It might just, the shoe just might fit perfectly.
Yeah, it might. It might. But honestly, the person I'm most excited for on this one is Tati Gabrielle. She's in this movie as playing something Braddock, I guess, but I don't know what that means. But yeah, she's in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and she was good in that. So I'm excited to see her in this movie actually. So
Right on.
But yeah, I'm not thrilled with it. I've watched enough things where I'm like, oh, that's a set piece from Uncharted 3. That's a set piece from this one. I'm like, yeah, they're probably just gonna do a bunch of set pieces from the games and make them put a part of a movie. So, fine. I don't know. I like Tom Holland, but I don't think he's like a action movie star or like a vehicle for movies. I just don't see him like that. They throw him at everything.
See, I think that like they just need to evolve action movie stars in general, like as a whole, because like the whole like broad-chested, overly muscular, confident, like there's actors that play into that role, obviously, but someone like Tom Holland, don't make him try to do that. Play the role to the actor you choose. Like the thing is that like Tom Holland's pretty, like, seems like a pretty on the ball kind of guy. Like, I like him as both Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Whereas, like, previous castings of Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield was a good Spider-Man, but he was a terrible Peter Parker. And it's the same thing with Tobey Maguire. He was okay as Spider-Man, but he was a phenomenal Peter Parker.
Yeah.
But
these are acceptable answers, yes.
Yeah.
Keep going.
And Tom Holland kind of does both really good. Like, he's not an amazing Spider-Man, and he's not an amazing Peter Parker, but he does really good at both. Because he fits into that role so well. He's got the, he's got the play back and forth. Like, in the Avengers movies, he's really good with the play back and forth. He's good with bouncing off people. He's also good at bouncing off himself as Spider-Man. But I just don't think you need to write him into a role where, like, let's face it, Nathan Drake's kind of a piece of garbage. Like, he's kind of a dick. Like, it's not what I see him as. Like, it would be like putting Tom Holland in his Indiana Jones. It doesn't mean Tom Holland's not a good actor, because he's a phenomenal actor.
Better answer. It's like putting Chris Pratt as Mario. It's not for him.
See, we're to the point where castings are either phenomenally good or terrible. Like, Robert Pattinson as Batman. I believe that to be a good casting right now. That looks really interesting. But then we have Chris Pratt as Mario, and I'm like, who?
Chris Pratt, I see him as an action star. I could see that be a thing, like, on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I could see him being Harrison Ford. Like, I just gotta see some more, like, things where he's actually trying to be, serious.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a little hard to see that when they don't cast anything like that, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on that, but. Anyway. Next question. We'll move on a little bit. Yeah, like, video game movies are just a crapshoot, and some are good, some are bad, some are like, why?
Yeah.
All right, next question on the list. This one is CD Projekt Red announced that no next-gen patches for Cyberpunk or Witcher 3 this year. What's the deal? One comes from Sam's little friend.
I'm not sure I like that name.
See, what happens when you guys submit questions, you don't come up with names or tell me who it's from. or say, hey, yeah, it's okay to use my name. I just come up with a fake one. So just yeah, put your names and let me know. You can give me a fake name. You can give me a pun. I'll take it. I like puns.
Do it like me when I order pizza. I order my pizza under a pseudonym, which is Jacques Package, is how I order my pizza. Yeah, Jack Package. But in terms of CD Projekt Red, do you want to field this one first?
I'm with CD Projekt Red, man. I'm done. I'm tired of waiting. I'm just tired, dude. I gave them a year to do something, and they couldn't do anything. Like, I get a lot of stuff happened to CD Projekt Red, and I understand that. COVID's a good excuse everybody gets to use, but like within reason, please. Like, I wasn't even expecting like a big thing, like just a little something. Like, oh yeah, 4K 60.
Yeah.
Like, and I understand, like, all right, they're doing a lot of patches to Cyberpunk to try and make it work. And I get it. But at this point, I would have expected at least Witcher 3. Like, at least that much.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no reason for it. And, like, at this point in the game, the only way for Cyberpunk to kind of, like, redeem itself is, like, they need huge changes, and they need them for free. And like I was at the point, like I played and beat Cyberpunk. I beat Cyberpunk. I want to do my second playthrough so bad, but I told myself I will wait for the next gen patch so it would be different. And they still haven't done anything on that. And like I'm holding off on doing Blood and Wine for Witcher for that same reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I'm just tired of waiting. And like I deleted both of them from my hard drive. I'm out. I was very forgiving. I didn't trash talk them. I didn't do any of that stuff, but I'm just done waiting. Like, I'm just done.
But what about the multiplayer game?
Yeah, no, they canceled that. So,
yeah,
like, I'm just like, why do I care? Why would I bother? You cancel what I wanted, and you're not even done with what you sold me.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
And I wasn't one of those assholes who like played it, beat the game, and got a refund.
Yeah.
I kept it.
In hindsight, I wish I refunded it.
Yeah, I'm at that point too. My whole thing was that I was like, all right, I'll give you guys a year to like have a next gen patch, and I did, and they're not gonna do it.
No, so the next gen patch is that it actually runs on Xbox Series X and PS5, unlike base Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah, it does. And like it looks pretty good, but I know it could be better. I've seen the PC version. I know it could be better.
Yeah.
Honestly, what I'm more pissed off about at this point is like the fixers as a concept. Because my issue is that the fixers felt extremely hollow. Like they don't really do anything. All they do is give you missions, which yeah, that's what fixers do. But I felt like there wasn't
personality.
I want to be able to like build my reputation with that fixer and like give me better and better missions because of it. And like, yeah, you have like one or two of them you could do that with because they're part of the story, but it's not what I wanted.
Look, I'm gonna be real. Pan Am carried that game to the finish line for me.
Pan Am's ass carried that game to the finish line. Let's be honest.
You're out of line, but you're right.
Yeah, I don't have my wife sitting next to me either, so I can say what I want.
Listen. But no. Yeah, I think it feels weird at this point, right? Like to have to delay a next generation patch. Like they should just have never announced the Witcher next generation patch. They should just waited till it was done, released it, and we're out the door. Instead, they're like, oh, Cyberpunk didn't hit. Well, we're doing a next-gen upgrade for The Witcher 3, and now they delayed that, too. Sure. So, like, you're just disappointing people who, if you had never told them, wouldn't be disappointed.
Yeah.
But instead, you're delaying something that was supposed to give people more confidence in your abilities, and now you've done the opposite with it.
Well, like I said, admittedly, they had a lot of problems other than COVID. Like, there was the whole hacking thing, the blackmail thing. I'm like, all right, I understand. But you mean to tell me a game that runs on base Xbox, the original Xbox, can't do just 4K 60 by upscaling? Like, or just you just doing it naturally? Because, I mean, you have the Xbox One X patch that basically scales, like, upscales the resolution to 4K. You can't just go like native. Like, you can't do something like that. Like, I mean, if it, like, at least show me like what you're doing to justify it. Like, are you remaking the game all over again with new assets and textures?
No.
Like, what's the deal? I want to know.
I would think it's a focus on like getting the frame rate, resolution, everything, ironing out more bugs and stuff that they have. And I imagine a big part of it will be their implementation of things like ray tracing and whatnot. Because part of the reason the PC version looks so good is because of the ray tracing and everything else.
For Cyberpunk, hell yes, totally understand that. I was thinking more Witcher 3 though.
Witcher 3 is going to be all about locked frame rates and higher resolution.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll implement ray tracing, but I don't. Feels like a weird game to do that with.
Why would you want to? Like, oh, ray tracing. Look at the reflections in the water. Like, that doesn't happen a lot.
Man, look at the sun shine right off Gerald's nice thick.
Well, there are those bath scenes. Maybe it will be worth it.
Gerald's feed in 4K.
All right. We got the mileage out of that one. So, all right, next question on the list. Hey, cheaters. Jez Corden leaked some deets about Obsidian last weekend about Avowed and Outer Worlds 2, saying they will drop a game every year. What do you think? From Fallout Girl 46.
I actually have a reasonable amount of insight into this one.
Oh, you got leaks? He's got connections?
I don't have leaks,
buckle down.
But
no, I don't believe him. He has leaks. He has the inside scoop, everyone. Let's all sit down and listen.
So I really think people need to pay attention to Obsidian right now, because this is a studio that previously, worked off of Kickstarters and everything else. But the thing is they can turn out a game. I once again implore people, go read and watch the history of Fallout New Vegas. That game was basically made in like a year and a half. And while it was buggy and it had its issues, the fact they did in a year and a half at that point in time is kind of phenomenal. But Obsidian's always been a workhorse studio. So I really think we will see an Obsidian game every year. I agree with Jez 100%. Like, I think, like, here's my roadmap for Obsidian right now. The roadmap for Obsidian to me is in 2022 will be Grounded full release. That'll be the main focus of getting out the door. 2023 is going to be Avowed. And I'm going to say early 2023 for Avowed. 2024 is going to be Outer Worlds. And then 2025 is going to be that new AAA IP that has been floating around for a while.
So when do you think Elder Scrolls 6 is launching?
Let me put it this way. Elder Scrolls 6 is still far away, but it's not as far away as people think it's going to be.
You thinking like 2-3 years, or what do you think?
I'm thinking like 3 or 4 years. Like
3-4 years. That's still a long ways away.
Well, see, here's my thing with Elder Scrolls is Starfield took so long to make because they had to rework it. Like, we know that they went back to the drawing board a bit in 2019 after Fallout 76 launched. We know that. There was a lot of reworking, creation engine overhauls, and everything else. That's pretty well documented. So now Starfield's coming out in 2022. If they hadn't had to rework Starfield, I think Starfield would have hit 2020 if they didn't rework it. So with that being said, I do not believe all 100% Bethesda Softworks is working on Starfield. I believe a good 80% is. But I do believe there's 20% that's doing pre-production and pre-planning for Elder Scrolls 6. And once Starfield launches in 2022, that team will roll into and basically get the vehicle that's been pre-made and, you know, begin that process. So, like, I could see Elder Scrolls 6 being, like, 2025. But I've seen people say, like, oh, it's not even going to be on this generation of consoles and things like that. Like, I think the Creation Engine overhaul took a toll on Starfield's release date, but because they did that overhaul, it will make things easier for them with Elder Scrolls 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's right, because it's going to be... Alright, so because like the Creation Engine is like basically the same engines as they've had forever, but they do all these really heavy overhauls to it, and so it becomes, they just rebrand it to whatever the new one is.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're doing all the legwork with Starfield, and Elder Scrolls is going to see the benefits of it. It says Elder Scrolls has been in production officially since 2018.
Yes.
Yeah, 2018. Like, I don't think it's going to be 3 to 4 years. I'm thinking like 2. Like, super optimistically, 2024.
Yeah, I actually think
like the end of 2024.
Yeah, I think the end of 2024 isn't unreasonable to think. We'll at the bare minimum have seen it in action by then. But I kind of think that's why Avowed is such a big deal, is because Avowed is that Skyrim fill-in. And I'm really interested in Avowed because just simply for the fact that Obsidian did such a phenomenal job with Fallout New Vegas, which was a Bethesda original IP. To see them do Avowed, which is essentially very much from what Jez Corden talked about in his article, is a very Skyrim-esque game set in the Pillars of Eternity universe. I'm interested to see if Obsidian can also do Skyrim better than Bethesda Softworks. I want Avowed to be really, really good and make the Skyrim or the Elder Scrolls team think a bit more in terms of what they can do. I want these teams to compete with each other so that we can get these incredible one-of-a-kind RPG experiences, because I am telling you, Xbox One and PlayStation 4 generation was the rise of the JRPG. JRPGs historically blew up in last generation. But I am telling you, this generation is the generation of the Western RPG.
That's interesting. That'd be a good point. And like, almost everybody's got something that can compete with it specifically, and that's... I'm gonna mull on that a little bit. Age of the Western RPG. Yeah, especially because Microsoft's taken a really big push on it lately, and they've acquired a lot of these Western RPG groups.
Wow.
And it's gonna be like, all right, we know that EA is working on another Dragon Age. We know that.
EA's working on another Mass Effect. Obsidian's got a new AAA IP RPG, and Exile's got a new AAA RPG.
Yeah.
Compulsion Games is reportedly working on a fantasy third-person RPG.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, I'm more willing, the more I see of it, I am more willing to even say, like, even PlayStation's getting in with it with Horizon Forbidden West. Because it looks like they're diving more into the RPG elements with that game. That game's getting more and more interesting to me the more I see it.
I think that'll be their default RPG attempt.
Yeah.
I think that's the one that's got the more potential out of it for that. But yeah. Yeah, I can see where you're going with that. Not endorsing it, but I can definitely support it. That makes sense. I gotta see on that. Depends on who actually comes out. These are actually good. That's the real question.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody may be trying to make a Western RPG, but they're not good. What's the point?
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest question mark lands on BioWare right now with Dragon Age and Mass Effect.
All right, who do we have for RPGs? Let's think. Who do we have as major Western RPGs? So we got Bethesda, we know that. We got Obsidian. We got In Exile. But they're all at Microsoft. But like, where's the rest of the field?
BioWare, obviously. They're not Western because you're going into obviously into Europe, but
no, this still counts as Western in terms of style. If you want to say Polish devs and stuff.
Yeah, like there's gonna be something from Warhorse Studios. They're obviously gonna do another RPG. Larian Studios is doing Baldur's Gate 3, and they'll eventually be doing Divinity Original Sin 3. So
yeah.
There's a lot going on in the Western RPG space. In last generation, the Western RPG space was Mass Effect Andromeda, Dragon Age Inquisition, Divinity Original Sin was a great example of something new that came out in that time frame. But like even Fallout was a soft offering, is what I would call that.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. All right, let's take a look at our next question. This one comes from it says Elden Ring delay. February is pure heaven/hell from the Dark Souls of fanboys.
The Dark Souls of fanboys.
Yeah.
Is that just Dark Souls fanboys? I don't.
Well, I mean, is he the worst fanboy? Oh, I get it. He's the hardest fanboy for Dark Souls.
Man,
there's a picture right there.
I thought I made podcasts sus, but you out here doing it even worse than I am. Damn. Elden Ring. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not interested in From Software games, okay? Like they do not appeal to me. They do not make a game that is interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if you I talk with my one friend, my best friend is a Dark Souls super nerd. And legitimately I've watched him play 1, 2, and 3 and I'm like, what's the difference? And he's like, oh, well, this little thing and this little thing. I'm like, well, what's the story? And he's like, oh, well, there's lore and da-da-da. I'm like, this doesn't sound appealing other than being able to chest beat that you beat a hard boss. Like, I understand why people like them, but I just don't like them. So Elden Ring could get delayed till 2026 and it would not affect me at all.
I'm in the same boat. I really don't care about Elden Ring because I don't care about From Software. I get why people like it, and I like the fact that the people are intentionally making challenging games and people are enjoying them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with that. I like that people enjoy those sorts of things. I just do not care personally. So I respect it. But I think more importantly to me, February is a no-go zone, dude. That's dangerous. There's so much coming out in February. Let me pull up 2022. Oh, by the way, for me, I always look, if you want to like get a good list that's updated on a regular basis, is use the Wikipedia articles and then just type in whatever year it is and then in video games, and they'll have game releases. Those things are updated almost instantly as soon as an announcement comes out, and it basically has every single game that comes out and what platform. So yeah, it's great. Like they got our other topic for the evening in here. So here's what they got right now, launching in February. The Life is Strange Remastered Collection, Dying Light 2 on the 4th, Dynasty Warriors 9 on the 15th, King of Fighters 15 on the 17th, Relayer, Toucan Rambo Warriors on the 17th as well. The 18th is Horizon Forbidden West. The 22nd, you got Sifu, Monarch, and Destiny 2, The Witch Queen. 24th, you got Assetto Corsa. You also got Crystar. The 25th, you got the Saints Row reboot, Elden Ring, Idler Sophie 2. 26th, you got Dragon Quest X offline. I don't know what that means. You also have the unannounced titles for February: Kaiju Wars, Blood Bowl 3, Evil Dead the Game, Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons, and Vampire the Masquerade. We are going to be swamped in February.
No, we're not. 80% of those games are getting delayed. Like,
Oh, definitely. I say if all of these titles stayed, yeah, we're swamped. But basically, looking at this, like, I see Dying Light getting another delay.
Dying Light's getting another delay. I guarantee you, depending on how the technical test goes, Elden Ring gets another one.
Yeah.
Forbidden West is staying where it is. I think Guerrilla Games is going to stand on that square and release it.
Yeah.
But like Dying Light, the Saints Row reboot, really? Yeah, we're not. No, that's no.
Who knows? Well, I think it might be like a game of chicken between Elden Ring and Saints Row, where it's like, all right, we'll see who delays first. We'll wait till December.
Yeah.
Because everything I've seen from that Saints Row reboot looks solid. Like, did you see that leaked gameplay that came out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, that was great. I was like, I'm in. Like, this looks good. So, but yeah, my Saints Row experience had not been great. Well, I did it in the opposite order anyone ever suggests. I started with 4, then went back to 3.
You know, you need to be locked up. Fable 3,
Why did I get
Saints
a
Row
choice?
4th. You do not play the most recent version of a dead IP. You don't do that.
Did I tell you how my dad screwed me up for video games? This is one of the things I realized. Like, don't listen to your parents. Yes, kids, don't listen to your parents ever. But specifically, don't listen to your parents about video games, because I didn't. Okay, when I got what was it? I got my GameCube, and I know the GameCube one wasn't that big of a problem because I wasn't really playing sequels that much on that. But when I got my 360, that was the worst one, because when I talked to my dad, we were at the used store called Ed McKay's, and I remember saying, "Hey, Dad, what game should I get?" And like I had I had a couple of games. I had like, Halo 3, Halo Reach. I had Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Revelations was also there. And I had some other title. And like I asked him, "Hey, Dad, which game should I get?" And he's like, "Whoa, well, get the most recent one." My dad doesn't play video games at all. The last video game he played was Tetris. Like, that's it. That's the last game he played. So for him, he was just thinking like, oh, well, just get the most recent version because there's no like story or anything to these games. And so I listened to him about Halo, and I got Halo Reach, which was a good call, I think, because that was more multiplayer focused, and it was also technically a prequel, so I guess that really worked out. But I didn't listen to him about Assassin's Creed. I didn't get on the particular trip, but it was things like that. I was like, that kind of ruined me initially. Like, all right, get the most recent one. Stories don't matter. So, yeah, just silly. But yeah. All right.
I just feel like if Saints Row 4 is your first Saints Row experience, I feel like that's if like the Final Fantasy Battle Royale game is your first Final Fantasy experience.
Yeah. 15 was my first Final Fantasy experience.
Oh god, that'll send people into conniption fits.
Oh, I hated it. So I'm like, JRPGs, I don't care. So I was just like, this is boring. Ugh. No, I'm not a big fan of JRPGs. I try play them. I can't get into it. I don't know what it is. It's not the reading or anything. I'm fine with reading. But I don't know. It's just something about it.
You gotta get on that Yakuza Like a Dragon, son.
Like, will we call Kingdom Hearts 3 a JRPG? I don't think so.
Technically, it is.
technically, but like that's loose. Well, I guess it's more of the difference between JRPG versus Western RPG. But yeah. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, Elden Ring kick rocks. But I view like From Software, they do this whole thing of like they change one thing and launch a whole new game for it. It's like, all right,
You
we're
can
gonna do
parry
one thing. It's like, all right, you can dodge in this game. Let's do it. Like that's a whole new game right there. All right, we're gonna change up the gameplay and encourage you to be more aggressive. All right, Bloodborne. You can parry and counter. All right, Sekiro. You can ride a horse. Elden Ring.
No,
Like,
don't
just
forget,
like-
you can jump.
oh my god, jumping.
Even Kratos can't jump.
Because everyone knows Ashy white men can't jump.
Ashy white man. Oh my.
Anyway. All right. I think we're done with that one. Let's see. We got 3 more questions. NFTs. What the hell are they? Why is everyone talking about them? Nick, do you know what an NFT is?
Look at me. Do I look like the type of man that knows what an NFT is?
Maybe?
No, I have no idea. I don't even understand cryptocurrency, okay? Like, I just, on a base level, do not care.
Yeah.
It's like Avon for our generation.
Yeah. I'm not sure about that. But all right, so I'll try to explain NFTs. I'm not like really versed at it, but I'll try because it's like it's been interesting to me for a little while now. It is understandably confusing because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I'm gonna throw up an example. If I drew a picture of Frodo and I put that on the internet,
Right.
how can you own that picture?
You don't.
Yeah. So what they did is they tried to find a way for you to be able to own the picture.
Right click,
So-
save image.
Yeah. Well, okay, so how do I fix it? I explain this a little better. The concept of it is that you can have internet things, but the thing is, no one truly owns it, but they can use it. So, like, the idea is, all right, the Mona Lisa. Somebody can own the Mona Lisa because it's a physical painting. But yeah, anybody can make a copy of the Mona Lisa and have a copy in their room, but they don't have the original.
Right.
What they're trying to sell you on the ideas is that you can own the original of something. Even though you can't really do anything with it, you can't really you can sell the rights, I guess, but that's it. But you can't like license it out for reproduction or anything because you can't stop anybody from doing it. Yeah.
You know, I thought it was going to be so much more complicated and interesting, but it just sounds bare bones stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't believe I can't get graphics cards because of this.
Yeah, well, this was not so much about the BitChain stuff in terms of that. This is more just like someone creates an NFT and then they sell it. So like, okay, I think this is why I saw this like today or yesterday. I saw this yesterday. So you know, Dead by Daylight,
Yeah.
like the official horror game of my childhood kind of thing, because they just put so many childhood horror icons in that movie. The game. They just released Pinhead into the game. And they are selling the NFT to Pinhead. But technically they don't have to pay, is it Clive Barker? Or whoever the creator is. They don't have to pay that person for it. Because all it is, it's a image recreation of that character so they can sell the rights to the image. Yeah. Honestly, this is just kind of like the wild, wild west out here. And people are just doing random stuff. So I wouldn't... I think a lot of people are jumping on board. Like, dude, someone bought like an NFT to a picture for like $17 million like 2 days ago.
Man, I feel like I should just go online and create a pyramid scheme called Pyramid Scheme, and I'd net enough idiots if I talked a bunch of lingo over the top of it. Like, yeah. How?
I know that Lil Nas did it. I think that's where people started talking about it a lot more. He sold like the NFT like to his music or something, like on TikTok, I want to say.
NFT to its
that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, honestly.
Man, we're doomed as a species.
Well, I think this is one of those things because there's no law against it, and so now people are just doing whatever and seeing what happens and see if the industry exists or not. Like, it's just people with money to waste, and they're just doing it.
So. Yeah, it's like the people in the 70s that would throw paint canister at a canvas, blur a bunch of paint all
Jackson
over.
Pollock.
Yeah, like and then go down to Miami and see which coked up celebrity will buy your fucking splash painting.
I mean, hell, I wish that worked for me. So, but yeah, NFTs are weird. My suggestion is just stay away from them for now, because
crypto dudes are super weird too. That's a baseline of people that I just avoid on social media. They weird me out even more than console fanboys.
Yeah, it's too much word. Not worth it. So, all right. Next question. You got two more. This one comes from Hassan Kojima. Oh, no. So Blue Balls Game Studios says that they are getting death threats. What do you think, Undead? Called you out specifically.
Called me out specifically. What did I do?
I guess I don't care about what I think. Screw it. Go ahead.
This one's complicated. All right, like on a base level, obviously, everyone's human beings. No one deserves harassment. Period. End of story. But I almost called them Blue Balls Studio. My God.
Blue Box.
Blue Box. That doesn't make it much better.
Well, that's what their name is. Jeez.
So the thing with Blue Box Studios is they are victims of their own ambitions, is how I would call it. So they hyped up an audience, super hyped about a specific thing, teased some stuff, then backpedaled it, and then teased some more stuff, and then backpedaled it, released an app saying, oh, you guys are going to get to see all this, and then backpedaled it. So you keep setting expectations to a certain height and dropping people. You keep setting people to a certain expectation height and dropping them. No one deserves death threats. No one deserves threats. But the thing is if you keep lifting people up and dropping them, people that are emotionally unstable will take that as a slight against them and lash out irrationally. And what people need to realize is there is a lot more mentally ill people on the internet than we want to admit to.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, I don't think you're a normal person if you go around threatening people online. Like, if you go around and, like, tweet things about how you'll violently do this to someone because of whatever belief they hold, I really don't look at you as a worthwhile human being because you can't convey your emotions in a way that isn't violence. Like, yeah, I'm a 6'5" dude. I can crush your head with my hands. So? Doesn't invalidate what I'm saying or what you're saying. But the thing with Blue Box is that they keep setting these expectations and keep dropping the ball. So they're going to deal with lashback about that. And I think, honestly, people have been incredibly patient with them as a whole. And I think the app kind of threw a lot of people off the boat. And the cult-like status that Silent Hill has acquired over the past few years, that fan base, like any fan base, if there's a lot of passion, that means there's a lot of anger. Period. Full stop. If there's a passionate community, there's people that are very angry. And those people are overflowing, and, you know, Blue Box is dealing with that. I will say, though, like, one thing I've seen media personalities do it a lot more now, like Alana Pierce does it a lot now and everything else. If someone threatens you, put them on blast. Just blast the bejesus out of them on social media. I do not care. I do not think that's petty. Like, if you're a woman and some dude sends you a picture of his ding-dong, live post that. I don't care. Expose the hell out of them for it. If someone's acting inappropriate or anything like that, put them on blast. It's fine. You know, actions have consequences. Don't say something in private that you wouldn't say, you know, publicly. Like, I'd have no problem telling Ivan I'm going to slap him in the fucking forehead. No problem with that. I DM him. Can you
reach this high?
What's that?
Can you reach that high?
Yeah. Cannot reach that high. This guy's like 2 inches taller than me, and he's talking all this. But I'm not doubting Blue Box or anything, because I've seen people go on the fence of, well, they're not really posting anything. Are they doing this for sympathy? It's just really weird that they don't talk for a couple of weeks, and they said they'll do updates soon for the game, and then they're like, well, people are sending us death threats. It's like, I'm not covering this. Like, I'm not going to write a news story about you again. But
no, like, that's my big issue with it, honestly. I'm not going to cut you off really bad. My whole thing is, I don't believe you anymore. I don't believe a lot of people anymore, because the easiest thing you can fake is a death threat. Because, oh, my attorney said don't show it. I don't care. What are you gonna do? What like if you and please, if someone has legal experience, please tell me. Like, if you just show it, the death threat, how does that ruin your case? I don't get it. Like, it's like, oh, he made a death threat. Hey, everybody, look, he made a death threat against me. So if you die, and it was a real death threat, now everybody knows who did it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, especially if you're like a big like a company, show it. Like, because also otherwise we're at this is a generation of show me, like show me the money. Like I just can't take people's word for things anymore. I gotta see it.
Well,
yeah.
Like, and the clarification I need is, like, they're saying people are harassing, you know, employees of the studio.
Where? We only know one employee.
Well, that's the thing, is like the whole thing why this is a Kojima game is the fact no one can find employees. So now employees are being found to be harassed. It's weird.
Yeah, it's like,
Like,
so my thing is they waited conveniently a month since their last tweet, where no one's talking about them anymore, to do something to get attention.
Yeah, like a perfect example of someone putting people on blast in a respectful way, and I totally co-signed it, was Neil Druckmann. I think it was either before or after the launch of The Last of Us Part 2. He put a bunch of people that DM'd him anti-Semitic stuff. He just was like, here's a bunch of screenshots of what people said to me after they played The Last of Us Part 2, or why they don't like The Last of Us Part 2, and da-da-da-da-da. And it was people being anti-Semitic and just, you know, calling him slurs and everything else. And I hate saying that's a reality of the space we live in. You're never going to weed out every single person that's a piece of garbage off a social media platform. And no matter how much of an authoritarian stance you take in your, you know, community terms and services for that stuff, you're never going to weed all of it out. And I'm of two minds with it. Like, for myself personally, like, I get garbage in my DMs a lot. So I changed the privacy settings on my DMs. Like, if I don't follow you, you go in a message request bin. And I just don't look at it. Like, I don't need to put it on blast. I don't need to talk about people that hate me or whatever. It's just, people do it. It's online. It's easy to hate people online.
Yep. Like I said, I just don't. There's too many things that line up saying, all right, this is one thing. And like, this is the other part I think is really funny too, is that people have criticized specifically Blue Box for being a scam. And their history says, yeah, we scam people. We announce a project, get people on board, then we leave. So I think people getting invested this time, despite knowing that, feel especially burned. Like, do I doubt that people send them death threats? No. Do I doubt the timing of this? Yes. So, anyway. Let's see. Oh, look, we had a couple people who said things in the chat. This is from a while ago. Lunch Bizzle said, video game movies have always been awful, so even if they're this one is slightly mediocre, it was still one of the best. Sam's in the chat. I think with Tolbert from Windows Central saying, I mean, that's why I respect people like a lot of peers, like Nick is saying, she puts people on blast. So, all right. And we have our last question for the evening. Top 3 video games on the fly from Willie Dick Johnson III.
Easy.
All right, what do you got?
Doom 1993, Baldur's Gate 2, and Stalker.
Batman? What?
And Stalker.
Oh, Stalker? Interesting. Bioshock. Fallout New Vegas. And Sierra's The Hobbit.
Oh, man. I forgot about that game, dude.
Yeah. That was the first game I bought on GameCube.
Oh, man, I played that game on PC. That game was fire.
Yeah, that game made me read the book.
Actually,
I had no interest in reading the book.
Can we just talk about for a second how heat all the Lord of the Rings games were back in the day, though? Like,
oh, dude, man. Playing through, like, was it Lord of the Rings 3 with Return of the King, where you start in the Battle at Helm's Deep playing as Gandalf the White? Oh my god, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, it's like, here's a tutorial level where you're overpowered as hell as Gandalf. It's like, okay, yeah, sold. Sign me up. Let's go. Let's truck it along.
That was awesome. Dude, I don't even remember, like, beating the game, but I remember playing that level over and over and over again.
Dude, I remember that game because it was one of the few video games my mom played. Because she was so into Lord of the Rings. Like, we maxed out every character to max level, the whole 9 yards. Like, I just used to play levels for fun. Like, I loved that game.
I think the only game I ever played with my dad was Mario Kart Double Dash.
That was one I used to play with my mom all the time.
Yeah,
great time.
Because you like Baby Circuit. You like that one a lot because you like drifting.
Man.
Yeah, we played that. We played the a NASCAR game, but that wasn't great.
GameCube was heat though.
Yeah, GameCube is great. They had such a great amount of titles. Like, what was it? I'm on a Harry Potter kick right now, so I'm rewatching all the Harry Potters backwards.
What so is wrong with you?
Well, no, well, I mean, I've watched them like a dozen times, and I was like, you know what? We watch them backwards just to see how this looks.
Like, for real, you're one of the smartest guys I know, and you're like, I play everything backwards. Like, this man is gonna wait till like Like, I half expect you to do a Far Cry marathon and start with 5 and go all the way back to the original at this point.
Why would I do that? I would
Because
start
the
with
games
6.
will get better as you go down.
No, I would start with 6, obviously. I start with 6, then 5. Or it's like, no, I only play the good Far Cry games, the spin-offs.
That's actually true, though, because Primal's good.
That was okay. New Dawn's boring.
Okay, no, we don't talk about New Dawn. That was... What if 5
I
had...
can't finish New Dawn.
Look, New Dawn was just, hey, what if the apocalypse happened and we all had pink spray paint?
You mean Rage?
Listen, you'll put some respect on Rage, okay? Rage is top tier.
Sorry, Rage 2. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Rage 2 is good.
It's good.
It's not amazing. I'm not gonna hype it up too much. It's a serviceable FPS game.
Let's talk about Rage for a second. So Rage 2
Terrible ending.
Yeah, terrible ending. But more specifically, the toolkit in Rage 2 was great.
Yeah.
The maps were terrible.
Oh my god, dude. It's like trucking through an empty mountain to go find some like the combat was so kinetic, but getting around was such a chore. Like anytime I had to go anywhere, I was just like, I just want to shoot people. Like if they made it more Borderlands-ish and made it so that like you had to fight people in between the massive areas, it would have been way more fun. It was the gaps in combat that made it suck.
Same Avalanche did Mad Max.
Yeah.
Which is like the only reason Mad Max worked in terms of its map was because it was car focused combat. And
Yeah.
so you built the maps around cars. And the problem was the cars sucked in Rage too. Like that was no fun, so it was boring and it was not worth your time. So that's I think the biggest problem. Now, if they made it more condensed, it would feel like Doom, even more than it already does. And that would work in its favor. But like I see that the problem with it, it's like, all right, we're basically putting Doom in an open world, but even then, it needs a little more curation. That would have helped it a lot.
Yeah.
And a decent story would have helped too. But yeah, Rage 2. Not terrible, but not good either.
It's like Rage 2 is like the Burger King of FPS games.
Ooh.
Like when you're drunk and you're in a pinch, it's alright. It's okay. But like you're thinking about Doom while you're playing it. You're at Burger King and you're like, In-N-Out would have been so much better.
Ooh. It's like, I respect you for what you're doing, but the thing is, like, Avalanche has got to find their Chiking sandwich. That's what they got to do. Like, where it's like, this is the best thing on your menu now.
I appreciate the fact they try to do a bunch of different things. They're trying to find what that is for them.
Yeah.
But
like, yeah, but that's probably makes most sense. They're probably the Burger King. Like they do so much stuff they don't need to do. Like, okay, remember like how like God, we're fat. How Taco Bell has nacho fries?
Yeah, it's the only way to eat their fries because their fries are garbage if you don't drizzle
Did you
cheese.
know that Burger King did it first?
There was nacho fries at Burger King?
There were nacho fries at Burger King when we were kids. I remember it because you had to like, it was like this dust, like Dorito dust or something, and you had to like shake it or something, and it would come out. It was like cheesy.
Man, it's not wonder our generation's got cancer.
We're dying. It's no wonder we got diabetes. It's like, jeez. But no, like I said, they did this stuff first. It may not be great. It may not be worth it, but they at least tried it.
And I think, I think we
But here's hoping, like, if this is the right Avalanche, I'm sorry if I get these confused. If this is the right Avalanche, maybe Hogwarts Legacy would help.
No, different Avalanche.
So, that's too confusing. I think we need to have an Avalanche off and just see which Avalanche stays standing from the other one's Avalanche.
I agree.
Just because I'm just tired of it. You guys can't have names like this. Like all those studios with blue in their title need to have a battle royale, a blue battle royale.
Blue Point versus Blue Box versus.
Was it Blue Fang versus Bloober Team versus Blur? Just because, like just everybody against each other, and just say, all right, the loser has to change the color. Just go do something else.
New, so abandoned from Pink Box Studio.
That sounds more appealing. I'm sorry, that just sounds interesting. Pink Box? Pink Box?
No, we're not doing this.
All right, I think we got one more question. Then we're ready to go on the main topic. No, yeah, we already did that. It's the last 3 topic video games. Yeah, that was it. That was the last question. All right, our main topic for the evening, Nick. What's our main topic? What are we talking about?
Well, unless you were living under a rock, yesterday we got the announcement that God of War will be making its way to PC in early 2022 with such features as DualSense, DualShock 4 support on PC, as well as ultra-wide support, DLSS, and, unlocked frame rates. So, the power of this game is in your machine.
I am shocked, sir. Totally shocked. Do you hear me? I am shocked right now. I can't believe that God of War, a PlayStation exclusive, is coming to PC. Yeah, color me surprised, sir.
Look, this isn't a surprise. Shout out to Fame, who got some clout tokens this week with Cory Barlog.
Did he show off that tweet saying like?
Oh yeah, no, Cory screenshot and was like, I guess I'm kind of Kojima-esque, like, or something like that. And good old Fame getting his points in. Gotta give him credit for that. Look, I'm so excited for this. I'd be lying if I wasn't excited for this, because I'm like, oh, I have to play the PC version now because, I want to support the devs. I'm so excited for the PC port of this because, like, unlocked frame rates. I've got a 3060 Ti. Like, I'm going to be running this, like, maybe I can get it to 120 at 1440. It's going to be so smooth, dude. And the best part, mods. I want a mod where instead of the axe, I could throw Atreus. Just
No. I want to see Thomas the Tank Engine as the dragon.
Oh my god.
That's what I want to see. How about you guys?
Replace every ogre fight in the game with Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yep. Let's see. I'm looking for the Fame's tweet. Let's see.
It'll be on, if you go on Cory Barlog's timeline, it's easy to find.
Oh, Cory Barlog's timeline? Oh, shoot.
Yeah,
I gotta see that.
Yeah, he posted.
I gotta support a brother on this one.
But yeah, I think, when PlayStation said there was a whole slate of games coming to PC, I don't know why people thought God of War was exempt from that.
He's gonna put God of War on here. Why are we surprised?
Like, here's the thing. This game is tapped out on PlayStation. Tapped out in terms of how much it's selling. And I don't mean that as like a negative. It's sold 19.5 million copies, which is a phenomenal attach rate for that game. So they've pretty much got the money they're going to get at PlayStation. And now they're going to release on PC to a whole new audience that might not necessarily have PlayStation 4s or PlayStation 5s. And then on top of that, you're going to get people like myself who are going to double dip to play the game again. Like, it's really smart, but I've kind of seen a lot of people pointing and saying this is PlayStation's PC strategy, is they're going to release a game, wait 3 years till the game's milked out on PlayStation, and then they'll release the PC port. I really disagree with that. What about you? Where are you at with the timeline that PlayStation will release these games to PC?
Oh, day and date eventually. By the end of the generation. Like, that has been my stance this entire time. By the end of the generation, they will be launching PC games on PlayStation, on PC, day and date. They will do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I firmly believe that because that's what this is.
Yeah. Well, like, let's be real here. This is, even PlayStation's third-party deals don't keep games off PC anymore. You look at the KOTOR remake, that's PlayStation and PC. Final Fantasy 16, that is PlayStation and PC. Are we seeing a pattern here?
Right now, what they're doing is they're kind of testing the waters to see, hey, which franchises do really well on PC? And so it's like, all right, is this game worth our time doing it? Like, so right now, Sony's really non-committal with the PC stuff, and like right now, like, yeah, they're not worried about it because they are. This game's already tapped out, like you mentioned before. It's already tapped out, so they're not gonna lose any sales on it. But now it's like, you know, let's see if we can get a little bump here. And I think what they're gonna do over the next few years is they're gonna wait. Like right now, it's like 3 years, 2 years before they bring it over. But now it's gonna be like, you know, it's gonna get a little more frequent. It's gonna be like, all right, maybe it's a year on this next one. Like Horizon Forbidden West, maybe it's a year after that. And then after that, it comes to PC. And it's going to start getting faster and faster and faster. And eventually, they're going to start launching day and date.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On PC. But they're not going to be like hard set. But like I said, by the end of the generation, they will be launching games day and date on PC and PlayStation.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, why not? It doesn't devalue your console, because at the end of the day, if someone has a PC and they're buying your game, it's still a sale. And if we're being honest here, it's still a sale. They still make money off of it. And it's not like either Microsoft or PlayStation's making millions of dollars off of console sales. The margins on console sales is so minute, if not losing money at this point, that like
it with them, you can't. Okay, the timing of it's perfect. Remember last week when Jim Ryan's going out there running the circuit, saying like, "I just want to see our PlayStation games reach a bigger audience," and it's like, all right, and that's where we're gonna keep all of our games exclusive to PlayStation. Nah, it's not gonna happen. So yeah, no, this was inevitable. And it's just gonna get worse. It's just gonna get worse. So
well, and I see so many people are like nervous about like the PC space overtaking the PlayStation space, or you know, like there's all this anxiety about PlayStation games coming to PC, and I frankly don't understand it, because like console.
What's hard to understand?
Well,
it's
like,
because they've been saying for so long that what happened to Xbox will never happen to us. That's why they feel bad now.
Yeah, but
that's why most people feel bad now.
We live in a world where quarter over quarter you always have to grow. You do. You can't have a negative quarter. Negative quarters, like, look at a perfect example. Look at the Game Pass numbers. Game Pass subscriptions are up 38%, missing a 50% marker they wanted to hit, and people spun a 38% increase as a negative.
Yeah, and I also find that funny that they didn't mention that PlayStation Plus subscribers went down 1 million people.
Yeah. regardless, that aside, you can spin any number and be negative if you put it in the right tone. But like, I don't understand it because like, people who buy a console are going to buy a console. People who want a PC are going to buy a PC. Like, you're never going to go out and drop $2,000 on a PC and stop buying consoles.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people that just have no interest in the PC space. Whether it's, you know, because you have to customize your games, the whole PC process, or if you just love the plug and play aspects of consoles. I know, like, as PC players will always argue of, well, you can do this on PC, you can do that. I'm not here to argue which platform's better, but for most people, the plug and play of a console is appealing. And that's fine. But there's a huge market of PC players, and they're not going to ignore it. Why would you sell, like, for example, you sell 100 million PlayStation 5s optimistically. What if you put all your games on PC and you get 1 million copies extra on every game you release, or you can have 5 million less consoles sold because those people decide to just go to PC? 5 million less consoles or 1 million copies sold per game extra?
I would think ideally you'd want to do the extra copies sold, but that's just based on your stuff. Like, yeah, you could get, if they buy the console, yeah, you may. Well, sorry. The market of people who already have PCs are not going to be buying their multi-plats on your platform. There is no reason for them to do so.
Nope.
Like, they're just not going to. There's no reason for them to do it when they can get it cheaper and they can get it sooner in most cases, and they could get the better running version on their PC. They are not going to be buying your PlayStation game to play multi-plat games. They're just not going to do it.
Nope.
So for them, because ultimately, yeah, you prefer them to buy the console if they're going to buy more games on the console and give you more revenue in the long run. The problem is you're not actually giving them that money if they only buy your system for one game.
Yeah.
It would make more sense for you not have to produce that unit and get that return on the game that you sell. And it's like, are you do it through Steam or whoever else?
Yeah.
Like, there's just no reason for you to do it otherwise. So, like, yeah, in the long run, like, you have people who are on the fence who are like, oh, I could go to any platform at any time, and I'm just open to whatever. Like, yeah, you want them to buy your console, but for people who are already on the fence and weren't going to do it anyway, now you get to capitalize on that market.
Yeah.
So.
Well, like, it's the thing is, like, a major success, the you know, numbers in terms of to make a major successful AAA game now are different than they were years ago. Like, the level of expectation is so much higher, and a lot of these guys struggle to sell those big blockbuster numbers. Like, God of War selling 19.5 million copies is huge. Huge. But if they get another couple million and push it to like the 23 million, like, I'm not saying it's going to sell 4 million copies on PC. That's a high task to sell quickly anyway. But that's still 3 million, 2 million, 1 million copies that you didn't have before. And like, with how their PC releases are rolling out right now, you know, maybe someone will play God of War 2018 and go, wow, I need to get a PlayStation 5 to play Ragnarok now. Maybe that will work in their favor. Who knows? But I think...
Well, I think if I were like a hardcore fanboy, I'd be like, hell no, why would I? They brought their game to me. That means there's a bigger chance they're going to do it for the second one.
Yeah. And I think, too, if God of War sees... I think if these ports do big numbers, like, we've seen reports, I've heard a few things, and PlayStation internally is very happy with Horizon Zero Dawn's success on PC. So I think the more they see those type of opportunities, the more they're going to lean into it. Like, if they start selling millions of copies on PC, they'll do it sooner and sooner. Like, the whole idea that people think that PlayStation bought a PC port studio to release PC ports 3 years later is absolutely ridiculous.
No, that's ludicrous to think otherwise. Oh yeah, by the way, apparently Microsoft just bought the Silent Hill IP.
Really?
No, not really. Hell no.
I'm sitting there going, I haven't checked Twitter in 30 minutes, so.
No, Wario 64. Wait. If you guys want to see like sales on stuff, Wario 64 is like the guy to follow. You will find games and deals you will never believe. But no, he says Silent Hill HD Collection is on sale at Xbox for $7.50.
Oh, okay.
So you can Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 in HD. So
HD. What is it?
Yep.
HDD.
HDDR.
High definition dick riding.
Oh, I was thinking like DDR, like Dance Dance Revolution. Jesus. That's terrible. You're done. You're canceled. So, all right. Anything else about this one?
Nope. I'm good.
Things up. All right, we'll wrap things up here. So we have our final poll question for this evening. This will go live now. I'll post it on Twitter. With Sony bringing God of War to PC, how long do you think it will take for PS games to launch day and date on PC? Again, this is how long you think it will take for them to launch day and date on PC. A, never, leftovers only on PC. B, by the end of the generation. Or C, tomorrow.
When you imagine the air now meltdown, they went, Horizon Forbidden West coming to PC on February 18th. Oh my god.
Dude, how funny would it be? I just imagine, like, I could definitely see this happening at some point where there's like a PR screw up where they announce the wrong date for the PC version and it's before the PlayStation version.
Oh god.
It's like, what? I could see something like that. But yeah. All right. So yeah, we'll wrap things up here. I'm Anchorman V2. You can find me on Xbox, PlayStation, wherever else. Anchorman V2. Find me on Twitter, Anchor V2. Let me know what you think. Tell me how I'm terrible for playing games and series and watching movie series backwards. Yeah, let me know what you think. I don't really care what you think, but let me know.
He's just wrong. It's fine. We love him still, but he's wrong. Yeah, I'm Nicholas Downey. You can find me on Twitter at Nicholas_Downey. You can find my written work over at lordsofgaming.net. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm going to be working on some chat side stuff. Because OBS is weird, I can't seem to downsize and look at the YouTube chat and interact without it freezing the webcam. So I might have to do some monitor setup changes so I can keep popping with you guys in the chat and everything else. But, we're learning. So, yeah. Got some big things planned over the next couple of weeks. So, appreciate you guys for tuning in. And let us know how you like the live format. And for those listening on MP3, we appreciate you. And we will check you all next week, Friday, Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, and bye for now.